In our last video, we completed the construction of our published pipeline. That is the pipeline that we want to use when candidates apply for a job that has been published to our jobs board. Just by way of a sort of recap, the difference really between the two is simply that registration is akin to applied. Essentially the same thing will happen when they apply, candidate registration form. And we also have two other stages for talent pool and interested. I'm going to show you how you can build your talent pool. So when you're building talent pool candidates and you then create a job for which you have shortlisted or identified a candidate as being talent for that job, they will appear automatically in the pipeline. Likewise, if any candidates have come to your jobs board and registered and then identified jobs that they would be interested in, which is a function that they can do, then any candidates who are interested in the role that you are publishing will be automatically placed into the interested pipeline stage. That'll come a little bit more evident when we complete that. So let's go now and add our permanent job as against a temporary job. So this is a job that we want. We're going to have our business. We want a business development consultant. We're looking to hire a business development consultant. This defaults to what we did the last time we added a job. The job will typically stay open for 6 weeks, and then we want to be able to copy and paste an advertisement for the job in here. So we'll just grab one that I've got beside me. You can, when you're creating a job vacancy, you can create a video. If you've got a video on YouTube, a link that you can link to a video that's relevant for the job that you're placing, then you can put the video link here. That video will then be displayed on the jobs form so that a candidate, when viewing the job particulars, will see the video as well as the detail contained in the description above. The next step we do when we're publishing a job to our jobs board is we specify remuneration, whether or not it includes super, and whether or not we want to display the remuneration details in the job search. So sometimes some jobs are able to be identified by doing a search for jobs in a particular remuneration range. So go next. Now this is where you can create the ideal candidate's properties, like what licenses you would normally expect them to have. For example, we would expect this person to have a business studies bachelor's degree as a minimum. Then we can specify that here. For the job, we specify how many we want, and then whether or not we want, when the candidate applies for the job, whether or not they want a cover letter or a resume. Now up to now, this has nothing to do with the pipelines that we've defined. We're simply now creating the vacancy for a particular position, running for a date with the description. We've identified the remuneration, and now we've specified the properties or attributes we would expect of the candidate if they were to be successful. And we've also identified here that when a candidate applies for this particular job, that we want them to provide a cover letter and we want them to provide their resume. So the next stage is then specifying what pipeline group we want to use. So here we say which pipeline, and you know that we've got two, so we're using the generic published pipeline. I talked about the vacancy status, not so important for contingent labour companies, but potentially a vacancy could have been created, goes to a vacancy pipeline which requires business approval. That workflow would have been defined in here. But given that we're not doing a sort of procurement pipeline in that sense, we're saying the vacancy is immediately live. The user can then view graphically the various assessments that are happening on which stages. So that's a chance to review it, and they can open that and they can change the templates. Now this, or the reviewers or the assisters in this particular case, this is really quite important because this might save you having to create a number of different pipelines. Maybe you have a generic published pipeline, just one pipeline, but when you create the jobs and you attach that pipeline to the job, as we have done here, you may then override for this particular vacancy the template that will be used. So just bear that in mind. It gives you a bit more flexibility. One pipeline then can be used to have many different templates because you change them at the actual vacancy level. So in this case, we're happy to run with what we've got, so we save the job. Now typically when I finish saving the job, I might go and find candidates or add another job. So let's just imagine that we're going to go and find candidates. And this is my candidate list that I can find, and I can search for classifications, I can search for people with different degree types. So there's James Foster has got the degree type of bachelor's that we might have been looking for. And then we could be looking at different degrees, and we can find that we've got no one with accounting and bachelor's, but that's the effect that you can do. You might look at this, you might go and view this guy's profile, and you might say, I'm going to add them to the shortlist. So I am essentially adding them to my personal development, my personal talent pool. So I've created the job now. I've identified that it's going to be using the published pipeline. I've gone and shortlisted, or in this case, shortlisted and talent pooling are synonymous with each other. By shortlisting them, I'm adding them to the talent pool for a particular position, the business development consultant. So now let's have a look at the job itself. So I load permanent, and here is the job. I can open that job, and as we did with our onboarding job, I can see the pipeline stages across the top. Here's the description of the job, and I can open this up and I can view the candidates in the various stages. So you notice that when we built we did the pipeline, we went into the talent pool and we shortlisted or added to our talent pool Mr. Foster. So then he's going to appear in the talent pool pipeline stage. Here we have him here. We also had previously identified that these 3 other candidates were also good talent for this position, so they've been applied here. Here you can see the interested, and you can see that it's dynamically filled 15 interested candidates. Candidates, when they register with your site, they might not apply for a job, they might just want to register interest in particular positions. In this example, these candidates have previously identified interest in the particular positions. So then you can imagine what you can do now. On your My Talent Pool pipeline stage for the published job, you can put a notification template that automatically sends communications to these candidates to say, do you realize we have a job that we've shortlisted you for? If you're interested, please apply. Likewise, hi Aid, we've recently raised a new job vacancy with which a job that you've identified you're interested in, please apply. So that can be happening automatically. So now we've got our talent pool, we've got our interested, we've created our job. Now we're ready to receive additional candidates as they apply for the job. And what's going to happen in the next video, I'll take you through that process of the candidate applying for the job. So I'll log out of it here now, and as they're logged out, we will see that this is the job that the new candidate is going to apply for. So thank you for taking the time to view this video. And we'll talk again soon.